welcome back to another episode of Growing with LaLa's Crops. So today I will be giving you tips on doing a garden layout for any new gardeners who may need a little help as far as, figuring out a layout for their raised beds. So if this is something that you're interested in watching, stay tuned. Tip number 1, sunlight. You want to make sure that your plants are getting at least 6 to 8 hours. My new raised bed, I decided to do my setup this way, more of a vertical position. My corn is in the back, and then next to that is okra and then tomatoes. Tip 2, plant spacing requirements. If you are planting by seeds, check the back of the package. At the top, it gives you a brief description about the plants, and then below it has the spacing requirements. For this variety of corn that I have, it's 12 inches apart. Now, if you are buying plants like I did with my tomatoes, you can check the back of the tag and try to keep these tags so that you can know the spacing requirements. For this one, it's 36 inches apart. So if I had the same variety, I would need to plant the other ones 36 inches apart. Tip 3, pre-measuring areas before planting. Okay, so I'm going to be demonstrating using corn, but let's pretend that this area was empty and you just have soil, nothing else. You want to figure out where you want to start at with your first seedling. So for me, my first seedling is right there, and then I'm going to measure out 12 inches apart. And for visual purposes, I'm going to place this name tag in the spot where 12 inches is, so we can count how many seeds you should start, or if you want to purchase some plants already grown out, how many you should buy to be able to fit into your raised bed without being overcrowded. Okay, so I'm just demonstrating again. Your starting point and then 12 inches apart, and that's where you can plant another corn. Now we can count how many plants can fit into, for my example, into my raised bed, which was 5 plants in total. Like I said, this is going to help when you are planting by seeds, how many seeds you should start. You don't want to plant seven seeds if all 7 can't fit in your raised bed. And also, if you're purchasing some plants, you will only want to purchase 5 plants because that's what the spacing will permit. Now let's say, for instance, like I have my carrots in the front, you have to go ahead and sow the seeds into the soil. Well, in that instance, you will have to thin out your seedlings, as I'm showing these little seedlings right here. You want to space them out so that your carrots can have enough room to grow. Tip 4, plants that will need support. It's also important to know how tall your plants can get. For example, my cucumber plant, it grows up in vines, so it can get pretty tall and wide. So you want to be able to provide, your plant the support that it needs in order to grow healthy vegetables for you. I have my bell pepper plant in a tomato cage at the moment, and then my jalapeno is just on a stack right now. But notice that my taller plants are positioned towards the back of my raised bed. For my tomatoes, I have these wooden stacks that I'm using, and I always add my root vegetables in the front of the raised bed. Tip 5, adding flowers/herbs. So I added 2 marigolds on the edges of my raised bed just to help repel any flies on my carrot plants. I planted marigolds in between my tomato plants too. I also added a lavender plant to help attract more bees into my raised bed, and then in the back I also added a mint herb back here, which is great for repelling off pests around my cucumber plant. So that's why I positioned that where it is now. And all of this is important when you are trying to do a setup for your garden. Just trying to figure out what you can plant next to each other and what is going to help benefit your plants. I also added borage seeds right here next to my tomato plant, and I'll be discussing about companions, what flowers and plants you can grow with each other. And here's a list of herbs, flowers that you can include into your raised bed. Help save the bees. Tip 6, companions. Homegrown is a great app that you can check out companions. Right now we're going to look at corn, since that's what we discussed in the video. It tells you about spacing, minimum sunlight, if it's frost protected, any planting advice, feeding advice, which I like, any common issues such as pest or whatever it is, harvesting, how to harvest it, the crop family, and lastly, companions, which is what we are discussing for tip 6. So as you can see, companions for corn are tomatoes, lettuce, cucumbers, and watermelon. So now I'm going to look at okra, which is something that I have growing near my corn. So now I'm going to just stroll on down to the companion part. It says that you can grow tomatoes, corn, onions, and peppers near okra. So it's always good to check both plants to see, what companions you can grow with whatever plant you're putting in your raised bed. So now we're going to check out tomatoes, which I also have in my raised bed. I just wanted to show you the companions for tomatoes, which are basil, parsley, eggplant, garlic, and marigolds. And like I said, we were discussing about flowers, so you can plant marigolds around your tomato plant. If you are wanting to plant herbs such as basil, the companions for basil are tomatoes, peppers, garlic, and green beans. So I also have sowed some borage seeds in my raised beds. So the companions for borage is leaf lettuce, cucumbers, strawberries, and spinach. Tip 7, writing your plan down. So if you would like to plan out everything and do you a chart, that's fine also. I was just giving you another visual. Like I said, my bed is 44 inches in width, 61 inches in length, and 9 inches deep. And I put where my sun rises so that you can kind of figure out where you can position your plants. So in this visual, I wrote towards the bottom of my page any companions, flowers, and herbs that I can plant around my vegetables. And if you look at the top, I planned out how I'm going to position my flowers. So if this video was very informative, please do not forget to share this video and just, support other beginner gardeners in your community. So I'll see you guys in my next video. Thanks for watching.